Okay, great. Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for coming to the May 9th Metro Human Relations Commission meeting. This is the inaugural meeting for our new executive director, Davey Tucker, so we're very excited about that. Yay. And we will talk more in depth about that in just a moment. I want to really thank everybody that did make it out here. It is really important that we have commission members present at these meetings so that we can make the important decisions and actions that need to be done to achieve an equitable Nashville. So please do continue to come and make your presence known. First thing I want to do is call the meeting to order and move into confirming quorum. We cannot confirm quorum today, right now, because we don't have enough people present. Hopefully a couple more people will arrive throughout the duration of the meeting, and then if we have any motions or actions to take, we can take those then. Despite this, we are going to continue to have the meeting because there's important discussions to be had. We will just take note not to move forward with any actions without quorum. So first, we're supposed to review and approval of minutes. We cannot approve without a quorum, I believe. So we can review, and if you've got any things to share or mention, we can note those for the time that we can go ahead and make amendments and approve. So please take a look at those.
I've got something.
Yes.
So under number 5, new business, it seems like that sentence is not fully fledged out. Number of votes from, are we missing something there at the end?
Where are you, what paragraph?
Number
are you
5, the first bullet, the first.
Clarify that we can.
It does sound like something I would just stop and not say, but I agree.
A mid-thought. Okay. Thank you. Let's finish that sentence. Thank you.
Members present, or
I
commissioners
believe so.
present.
I think it's members present.
I kind of recall part of that conversation, and you need to probably fill it in, Commissioner Dash. You were trying to seek clarification about the way the voting would be done and whether or not it'd be multiple rounds or...
I think that's right. Yeah, I think it should be that I clarify that the candidate with the highest number of votes from the members who are present in that particular meeting. So that should be the clarification.
Okay, I'll just give one more minute for everyone just to look over it while we're here. Okay. I don't see anything else. All right, let's move on. So the next thing what I want to do is go through the financial update. This is usually, there's not a lot here. So as you know, I haven't actually spoken to Mark on this month, so I apologize for that, but not a ton of movement. Hopefully now that we have an ED, we will see a little bit more movement in the budget as things get allocated. I do want to tell you and inform you that we did get a response from the mayor's office on our budget request. So we asked for, I would say, 4 things. The first one was the training and compliance manager. That was going to be like the full-time equivalent person to come in and primarily help with Title VI training and working with agencies and making sure that our agency is informed and doing what it needs to do with that. And that was not approved. The second 2 things were about the mobile diversity seminars for the police department. And we had 2 requests there. One was, I'm doing this off of memory, but we had one that was just to cover costs that we've basically not been, this started and we were given a budget envelope for it, and that initial budget envelope was still not enough to cover the food and the trainers and everything that we do in the day. So this was just basically to fill that gap. And in addition, we asked for more because the police department has asked our training to be part of the new cadet training. It's part of the curriculum now. And so we got one of those and not both, from what I remember. But we did get the personnel requests, so we just asked for extra budget to be able to, support wages that make sense for the level of support that we need in the office. So that one did get approved, so 2 out of 4.
What was the last one? I didn't understand. Raises? So what does that mean?
Yeah, it's basically funding for, that kind of, if we want to do raises, if we want to do, promotions, these types of things. So that we can, have wage levels that make sense for the work that's being conducted. Okay, so that's the update there. Now, as you know, and I'll let the ED speak to this if it comes up today, but having a fully staffed office is really crucial to us being able to do the work that we want to do and have the impact we want to have. And so we were really hoping to get that full-time equivalent, that extra person, and be able to put them onto some of these pressing issues, and not having that is discouraging, of course. But I think we can come up with a strategy that requires a full staff and present that in a concerted way, and hopefully be able to get that, having our new ED here. So that's the financial update. Let's move on to new business, if that's okay. So the first thing and the most important thing is that I am delighted to welcome Davey Tucker here today for his first meeting as executive director. Everybody here knows he was our chair prior to January and was an incredible chair at that. And he is, a longtime community advocate, very, very well-versed in the challenges facing Nashville at this pivotal time, knows everybody that's affected by it, knows everybody that's deciding about it, keeps himself in that space to be able to affect change. And so we're really delighted and excited to have him here, because we are the commission that is in charge of, keeping our eye on the equity meter, basically, on Nashville, and doing something about that. And so I think that there's no one better to be at the helm and making sure that we do have that input, and we are on that watch, particularly now as things get more and more economically and otherwise segregated in the city. So I want to hand it over to Davey Tucker and just say thank you. I want to just mention that he has taken this on with incredible energy and ownership, and basically started from the day that he was informed of the role. And so far it's been really, really great to work with him to get at everything. There's no short list of activities and issues we need to address. So I'm just really excited to have him here. So Davey, I'm going to hand it over to you.
Thank you. I guess first let me say I'm just grateful for the opportunity that you all gave me. And I consider that a sacred trust that I'll try my best to live up to. 45 or so, maybe even a few more years ago than that, my friends and I would ride our bikes down here, and there was a pool toward the corner of the property headed that way. And this was the place, one of the few places we could come with relative safety, where my mom and folks did not worry where we were. In the old facility, we would play basketball in the evenings, and the staff there were like aunts and uncles in that they had a lot more influence and control over us than I would imagine staff today. So for me to start this at this place where I remember so much, even as I grew up, before they cut it off down here, you used to, on Saturdays, when I bought my first car, you would clean it up, put $3 or $4 of gas in, and drive over here. and park down there and wipe it down as people drove around the circle. And that became too much for the city, and they stopped that. But this place, this park, this area is a part of who I am, and part of, if you want to know me, then it's North Nashville that would really introduce you to me. So to start this first meeting here is special to me, because so much of the good and the bad and the trouble I got into is all within a mile radius of this place. And so I'm just grateful for this opportunity to continue what I feel is something I'm built for, is the mission of the Metro Human Relations Commission. So I'm grateful, and I just want to emphasize how important for me it would be if the commission would agree to, let's take these meetings to the community. Of the 17 commissioners, it's something about each one of you that you were sticking up above and out of your respective communities that caused the mayor to pick you, to put you on this commission. And I would like for us to try to see what that is and bring that collective strength to this organization. Nashville is in a unique time. We all know what's facing us, but it's also experiencing its greatest period of prosperity ever, flush with well over almost $300 million in COVID funds. And now seems to be the time if certain things are going to happen as we continue to move forward. We see how quickly the city puts together a bond issue and agree in principle to spend $3 billion on building a new football stadium, but $10 million goes into affordable housing. I believe this commission, again, with its ordinance, ought to have something to say about that. And I would like for us to collectively try to build our prominence through you as commissioners. And one way is to start holding our meetings within the community. So any commissioner that has a Metro-owned facility anywhere near your area or your groups, if you say so, then I'd like to take these meetings out into the community and to give each of you as commissioners to bring your respective constituencies to know about this organization. Because I just believe that we would get more notice and more serious takes when the community knows who we are and the community has an expectation about what this group is supposed to do. So, and even as we come to the communities, the ability to have groups that are, that you work with or that are critical to the work of the commission to even do presentations for us at those times. How can we increase our participation in the policy initiatives in this city? So I could go on and on and on, but I am grateful. The biggest thing that I see that I've experienced on the other side as being a commissioner is the commission has very low bandwidth as it relates to what we can actually do. With 3 staff, there's not much. And so hopefully through our strategic planning discussions that we can begin a multi-year process of increasing the bandwidth of this organization to be able to deal with the issues, Title VI, affordable housing, criminal justice reform, all those issues that fall within how do we help promote the health, safety, dignity, peace of all folk in Nashville. So I'm excited. Again, I'm grateful for the confidence that you have placed in me by granting me this opportunity. And I am ready to get to work. We've been working. Even before May 1, we were able to do a couple things. So again, I'm grateful, and I just look forward to the good trouble that we can get into going forward. Thank you, Ms. Chair.
Thank you. And I do want to just second that, in the vision that the director has sort of shared about doing these in the community, I hope within 6 months' time or less or a little bit more that these rooms are filled when we do this and we're not just talking to each other. And so whatever we need to do to get them filled, because no matter how much we care about this and we work towards this, it will be futile if it's not in the context of, the population that we're here to serve. And so we can care all day long, but we need, so yeah, I'll take the guidance and the strategy that we come up with to make sure we get these rooms filled. Yes.
So one thought I would like to put on the table is we might also want to invite the council person wherever we are, because I think that if we're thinking about the need to increase budgetary support for that, that requires council approval. And that doesn't happen when you start talking about it during budget meetings. It happens, when you start developing those relationships early on. So I think in addition to inviting community groups, I think, inviting the council member to have maybe the council member offer their perspective on what the human relations issues are in their particular district that we might be able to address.
Great, thank you. And and that makes me think of other creative ways to get the community involved. Hello. Welcome. Yes, please. Happy to see you. Okay, and the director did mention strategic planning, and I just want to quickly just inform you of what that means, and what that could look like moving forward. So, as we've got a bit of a clean slate in terms of new terms starting and having the new director, so it's a great time to really look at our priorities, our priorities, our intent, and over the next few years, and really set some targets for what we want to move the needle on, so that we know where we're going, and then start marching towards that. And nothing better than at least an effective strategic planning session to do that. And so we would love to get that going June, July, and a lot of it we already kind of know. We've been working on it, it's important to us, but just to really identify it, make it very solid, and set the sort of course for our work for the next few years. What I'll say about that, what I was going to suggest, but we really can't make a motion right now, is that we empower a committee, a strategic planning committee, to drive that. Of course, all commission members are welcome to join the meeting, but just so that we know there's a set group of people that are on this. It might overlap exactly with the executive committee, it may not, but that they have to meet, they have to come up with these priorities, and other commission members, if they want to be part of that, can join as well. And so that we actually, hello, Derek, perfect timing. And so that when we can just get this job done. It'll be very similar to the kinds of meetings we had to have to do the executive director interview. Derek, there, you got your own seat on the corner. I'm glad to see you. Hello. I have a question for you. We can't make any motions or anything like that because we don't have quorum, but we wanted to do a strategic planning session, and I was wondering if we could empower a strategic planning committee to have that session, identify priorities. The chair. Mm-hmm. Okay.
You make committee appointments. I believe not even in an open meeting. Sometimes you make appointments for committees.
Oh, great.
If you have that power.
Okay, and so it wouldn't require a motion even to do that? If I have it, yeah. And the second question is that strategic planning committee could determine the priorities for the commission. Trick
Okay.
questions. Yeah, okay, great.
I mean, it would be an ad hoc committee, so I need to check your ad hoc committee powers.
Okay. We can't,
Or authority, I should say, for forming ad hoc committees.
that would be great to know. Thank you. So that's how we want to proceed with that, and the sooner the better. So we would probably, similar to how the executive committee had to land on a day and time for everyone to meet to do this, we would do the same thing for this. It doesn't look like we would necessarily need an outside facilitator. I believe our ED could probably facilitate the discussion, but it's just something we would drive home to our guiding stars, basically, for the next few years. So I wanted to put that on your radars, and I will move on if there are no other questions about that. No? You have a look on your face. Okay. Now that guy, Erwin. Okay, the next thing we can't, I mean, maybe I can appoint, but for nominating committee, it's time to do our nominations for the different positions for the executive committee. And so we'd have to create a nominating committee. And I'm trying to see if we can do that without everyone being here. But if we could possibly get nominations, and then if we want to move for a motion later, we can. So who wants to be on the nominating committee? Many people here are already on the executive committee. I don't know if they can also be on the nominating committee, but.
Jorge, you want to be on the?
Jorge and Chuck. Nominating committee, you were on it last year.
I don't think I was. Maybe I was.
Yes, you are, I
Okay.
think. Okay. Okay, great. We've got two. I don't know how many we actually require for that, but when Derek gets off, we can ask him. So that will meet on its own, separate from the commission meeting. And basically, you'll have people that will nominate themselves to the roles, and you guys will move forward in determining who that executive board will be. This is moving very quickly. The next thing is, very briefly, nothing much to do here, but obviously we've been thinking about Title VI. A lot of us have been wondering how this plays into our overall mission and the work that we do. And just to let you know that the ED is looking into this, doing research, talking to different bodies that are currently working on this as well, and just supporting us in determining, what our role could possibly be. And there may not be one, there might be several different roles. And so it's on the agenda, but there's not a ton to do there right now. But obviously it will inform the strategic planning discussion when it's underway. Do you have an answer? Okay.
Recommendation. Otherwise, your other standing committees have to have a resolution adopted by the commission itself. But an ad hoc committee can be formed by the chair for the purpose expressed by the chair or established by the chair.
And do I have to do that here, or I can do it whenever?
I
Okay,
think that power of appointment is,
okay.
but, you might as well do it here.
Yeah, I
while
would
you're
like,
here.
yeah, I was gonna ask, so I would like to know who would like to be part of the strategic planning process as an official committee. Obviously, like I said, all commission members can join.
I
but-
would recommend you also have an odd number, just in case they vote. You wouldn't likely end up with ties.
Okay. So who's in? Erwin? Anybody else?
I also think you're an ex officio member of all committees,
Yeah, I'm definitely in.
but that usually means you don't vote, but you're an ex officio member.
So 2 more people could be great.
That's what I
4
would-
more people could be great. Thanks. Great. Okay. I've got 3. Yes.
The way this reads to me, the commission may by resolution duly adopted the affirmative vote of 2/3 of the commission members authorize the establishment of such standing committees for such purposes and such powers as should be set out in the resolution authorizing the establishment of such committee. Ad hoc committees or task force may be appointed as necessary by the commission chair. Purpose and scope of ad hoc committees or task forces shall be determined by the commission chair. The reason I read that is I don't think you have to count members. I think you can set this commission and what it is, and then it's our job to solicit the participation of the commissioners in it. That you're establishing this ad hoc committee for the purpose of the strategic plan, and with the hopes that all the commissioners would participate in it.
Yeah, that sounds great. I think, yeah, we'll definitely share the information of the meeting, all that stuff. If we even do a doodle, we can do a doodle or whatnot to get everyone on board to join. And hopefully the more there, the merrier. So even if you haven't identified yourself as being there and can be there, please do. Because like the director said, the more of us are sort of working members of the commission, the more effective we will be. So that's very helpful. Thank you.
It'd still be subject to the Open Meetings Act. All members of the commission are able to attend a meeting of the committee. It's just the committee would make its findings and conclusions, and then ultimately, typically what they do is they bring a report back to the full commission, and then the commission can determine which direction it wishes to go, whether it wishes to approve the findings or the report, or if they want to modify it. But it doesn't silence anyone on the commission from speaking at, committee sessions and so forth.
Yeah, that's important. Whoever shows up can contribute to the discussion. Okay, so that will be done, and then you guys will get communication on how we're going to plan that meeting. Please check your emails. I know some of us are on email less than others. We can also get on text to make sure everybody's there. The other committee that needs to be established while you're on the phone, Derek, is the Nominating Committee for the Executive Board. That comes around once every year and then it dissolves, basically.
Correct, but I've seen some organizations' bylaws, and I don't know, Director Tucker, I'm so used to calling him Reverend Tucker. Director Tucker, if you have a copy of the bylaws, it'll save me another phone call, but I'm pretty sure a lot of times on boards and commissions, it says that is a standing committee on an ad hoc basis, meaning only comes around as needed. I don't recall from memory what your bylaws state about the nominating committee.
The nominating committee will recommend commissioners for the official roles. The nominating committee shall be appointed by the chair of the commission and shall begin its deliberations by May of each calendar year. The nominating committee will consider, along with other relevant criteria, the following: A, interest in serving on the executive committee; B, attendance at commission meetings and functions; C, participation in the mission of the commission; and D, responsiveness to the staff of the commission.
That sets out its purpose, doesn't state anything other than you have the power of appointment as the chairperson. Does it provide for the number of members?
It does not say that at all. That is all that is in there as it relates to Section 4, which is the nominating committee.
Again, I would recommend that you have an odd number of participants on the nominating committee.
Okay, so I saw Commissioner Diaz volunteered for that. Did you also volunteer again?
I'll be happy to.
Great. So Commissioner Diaz-Beck also volunteered for that. Can I get a third of our very present and attended?
Who's the third on there? I mean, it feels like y'all could just do 2 meetings in one.
I have Erwin, Diaz, and Tran for the strategic planning, but that's going to be everybody. So
I can be on that.
okay, awesome. Thank you. Yeah. So Dash, Yazbek, and Diaz, and basically this will be it'll be a very brief and easy meeting. We'll just determine who is up for the executive board. Okay.
Is there going to be some, are we going to get everyone who's interested?
Yeah, if I remember correctly, yes, exactly. You email the commission, so Barbara, or Mark, yeah, about your interest in an executive position. So the executive positions are chair, vice chair, treasurer, and secretary.
And there's two vice chairs, first and second.
Two vice chairs, Barbara? Okay, two vice chairs. And so 5 positions, and so you would email Barbara on your intent or desire to serve any of those positions. And then she will let the nominating committee know. And then yeah.
And then we make the recommendations, I believe, right?
Yes.
And then we vote.
And then the full commission
commission
votes,
votes.
exactly. Okay, so I think what we'll do, since we don't have quorum, we will tee that up for June, so that we have enough people here to be able to make that. But all that will happen before the next June meeting.
It's all coming back to me. I was.
Yeah, you were.
I remember, because you nominated me into the role, yes.
Can I add another new business item?
Sure.
Okay. I am really concerned about the status of the membership of the commission. And just going through the listing that we have of the commission members, we have 17 members, we have 3-year terms. 10 of the 17 members' terms supposedly expired on the same day. That makes absolutely no sense to me. I mean, the reason for having 3-year terms is ideally to have rotating membership. So you have a number of members rotating off every year. I would like to try to figure out some way that we can reconstitute.
I don't think it's right either. There were not 9 other people came in.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, it just doesn't seem, there's something wrong with that list. Because it doesn't make sense that 10 members of the commission's terms would expire on April 18th, 2022.
If I understand correctly, it's because there's a certain date that didn't we talk about that? There's a certain date that these expire, all of them. And that's why it all lands on, it's not that everyone started at the same time.
I'd have to go back
Okay.
I don't recall how we determined that there were 10 positions that vacated on the very same date. I don't recall that. But as far as a reason why, there could have been a large number.
Not on my date, there wasn't. There was maybe 3 people,
Right,
including me.
right, same for me.
I mean, I would either like to, go back and we can figure out when new people came on the commission, either reality test that, or do something else so we can address the issue of having at least maybe, 5 members rotating off every year and 5 new members coming on for those terms. The second thing I'm concerned about.
Just unless there's something peculiar in yours that if someone is appointed, usually when there's an appointment to fill an unexpired term,
You serve the rest of the term.
you serve the balance of the term. Yours may have some odd provision that they serve for a year and they're subject to an election, and that could have bunched a bunch up. Something of that.
Regardless, I think it requires some looking into.
Sure.
The second thing I'm concerned about is, and we've been subject to this over the last period of time, is that currently the commission does not have the power to remove a member who does not come to commission meetings and does not participate. And that may require a change in the statute or the ordinance that governs the commission. But it makes absolutely no sense for a commission of 17 members to have people appointed to it who never show up. Because it does nothing but to debilitate the effectiveness of the commission. So I would like to see if we can explore some way to resolve that issue.
Is one way to resolve that issue.
It may even be in the charter. Typically, the authority to remove a member for attendance resides in the authority with appointment power. But sometimes the one with appointment power can make that recommendation and it still is subject to Metro Council approval of the removal. So there's varying degrees, but it may be actually in the charter. I would recommend, though, that with Director Tucker's guidance, bringing it to the attention of members that fail to attend, and I seem to recall your bylaws had a provision that 2 or 3 absences is where it becomes unacceptable or something. So I would recommend communicating with the appointment power, which I believe resides first in the mayor's office.
Why couldn't we just have Director Tucker call them and say, hey, if you're not going to come, resign? I'm sure they'll
Oh,
resign.
yeah, but I thought we were talking about having them removed specifically.
No, I understand, but he means just clear them off the docket so we can function.
Well, but for example, there was one person who would not respond to any communications, so the person in fact could not resign because they weren't communicating. So if someone sort of falls off the face of the earth, moves out of Nashville, isn't here anymore, there's no way to get that person off the commission, but except perhaps to ask the mayor's office to remove them, or to perhaps ask the council to remove them.
Well, I think the mayor acts first and then council. Typically, that's the process, but again, I'd have to research specifically, but usually it's, unless there's something specific in your powers.
Well, what the bylaws say is that the recording secretary shall maintain a record of attendance of members at regular and special meetings during the calendar year. The members of the commission are subject to the attendance requirements set in Article 4, Section 4 of the bylaws, providing that no member shall miss more than 3 consecutive regular scheduled meetings without excuse, or 1/3 of the full commission meetings in a 12-month period. Whenever any commission member fails to meet this requirement, the recording secretary shall immediately, after the calling of roll at such meeting, inform the chair. The chair shall encourage improved attendance and shall inquire as to whether that member wishes to continue to serve on the commission or to resign. Upon such resignation of any member, the commission may then recommend to the mayor that the term of that member be vacated and a replacement be made, counter to your point.
But I think even if the chair encourages and the person doesn't respond, I think the next step is either the chair or the director communicating with the mayor's office, because there is a process for removal by the powers that have appointment power, because typically they don't want members not participating in creating quorum issues and so forth. So it's a communication issue, but.
So getting back to my 2 points, and consulting with the charter, the commission members are appointed by the mayor, subject to confirmation by the council. And the commission also clearly shall have membership that are staggered, 6 one year, 6 the next year, 5 the next year. And it looks to me like we're sort of out of sync on that.
And again, we'd have to take a look and see how that list of 10 was actually determined, or whether there was a mistake possibly made.
Okay, so sorry, did you want to say something? The takeaways for me on this one is, one, let's clarify when all these people got onto the commission, so that we understand whether in actuality we did have 10 people in April.
I don't know who has those actual records.
We can work with staff to figure that out, possibly.
If not, it would be some research, so we wouldn't be able to get an answer in just a couple of days. We'd have to go through, as was alluded to, when council affirmed an appointment of someone and determine for what period of time that was intended for that person to serve. Again, that's a little complicated, but staff hopefully has some records that we could look to first.
Okay, so that's the one thing, the first thing we need to do. The second thing is, I get to speak to those commissioners that have not attended 3 consecutive meetings, and request either that they attend for the rest of the year or that they resign.
I think also there was a provision that he read that said that if they miss a third of the meetings annually,
Yeah,
that they also should be addressed.
yeah, so we have a few
It also
people.
said without excuse. Just to say.
That's true.
It said if they miss the meetings without excuse.
Sure, and if, yeah. I think it'll be pretty clear if someone's wanting to serve or not, or can serve or not. So then we will get that clarified, and then we will have positions that will be open, and we will work on getting those filled. That's the other major priority for me right now, is to push that forward so that we have active members.
Thank you very much.
No problem. Okay, and thank you to the ED and others that brought the charter with them, and I will definitely bring it next time for the amount that we have to refer to them.
Thanks go to Commissioner Tran.
That binder that they put together for us, that Mel and folks put together for us, is helpful. Okay, so now that we've got all the new business covered, more or less.
Only covered what you could do.
Right. Basically, it's on me to do these 5 things. I'm happy to do them. So the strategic planning group, you will get a message. We will set a time. We will move forward. Nominating committee, same thing. We will do all the things we need to do before the next meeting, and then have a quorum and a vote next meeting. And this task from Commissioner Vennick to sort out what our terms are, and who's coming on board and who's leaving. All that by June. Now, to old business, and let's move on to.
Excuse me, Chair, if you don't mind, if you'd let us work through the clarifying the terms and all of that, since those records should be part of the office. And as we get that, I'll give that to you prior to the next meeting, but we'll also try to have a report for that.
That would be awesome. Thank you, Director. I appreciate all that. And even if in the list of people I should be getting in contact with, the commissioners who want yay or nay type of thing, that would be great. Okay, so moving on to, if there's nothing else, let's move on to the more exciting part, which is a procurement committee activity. So I'll hand it off to Commissioner Dash.
Yeah, thanks, everybody. So really quickly, because we don't have quorum, and Derek could get your opinion on this, but the idea is that we are going to be an ad hoc subcommittee. We're going to interview the candidate for the procurement board, and then we will make a recommendation and then vote for it in June. Just want to make sure that's compliant. Derek, does that work?
Yeah, you're saying, you said we're going to be an ad hoc committee. Who is the we?
The 6 people who are present here today, the 6 board members.
As decided by me.
As decided by the
She
chair.
makes the appointment, yes.
Yes. This is, yeah, we're going to basically.
After consulting with chair, then, yeah.
Just to give some context.
My only comment is, hopefully you can not have a 3-3 tie on any recommendations that your committee may wish to bring back.
Sure. Just to give some context, what we're doing here is a year in the works, basically. We've just been delayed because of not having everyone on board. So now that we have our ED and we can move forward, we're basically have been given by the council the authority to appoint someone to the procurement board, and now are ready after a year or so to move forward with that. So we have one candidate here that Commissioner Dash will walk us through the interview process of that individual.
Let me just but your committee, after you conduct the interviews, will bring your recommendation back before the full commission.
That's correct.
As I understand what they're saying is, we're doing this now.
And then we will vote on it in June we'll make the recommendation. No vote today.
So we're being the committee right now, and then we're going to make our recommendation. Is that kosher?
Well, you'll need to make your recommendation when you have a quorum.
Right, that's correct.
Yeah.
I mean, have you already conducted the interviews? If you haven't.
No, this is,
right here.
we're
He's
gonna do
here,
it
he's
now.
here today, and we're going to interview him today,
Oh, I see.
right now.
Okay, I'm
This is about to happen right now.
Larry, if you want to grab the seat up
Well,
here.
wait.
Oh,
Wait.
Just kidding.
Now, we do have an issue.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Your committee has been formed, but you haven't given the public notice of the committee having a meeting.
Do we need a committee to be formed? Can we not just, we gave notice of this item in our meeting.
In the agenda.
So can we just interview this person right now?
I don't think so. It's because you don't have a quorum.
Can we have public comments from this person?
Yeah.
Can we ask questions related to the public comments?
Good idea.
Yes, but you, again, as I alluded to before, when you lack quorum, you cannot conduct business or deliberate towards a decision. So you can hear, asking questions, that could be a slippery slope.
Because he's here, I would like to ask him, as a private citizen, to just come here and speak to us about procurement and his involvement in the community.
Yeah, I mean,
And
that would
we
be
will not
acceptable.
interview him, and we will not deliberate whatever he shares. But if you would be open to that, we'd appreciate you coming and sharing about your background, why you're interested in this position, procurement, the procurement board in general, and your understanding of that, and anything else you want to share. But we cannot actually interview you, and we cannot deliberate your responses. I apologize for that. We were hoping we'd have a quorum today, and we do not. Are you open to that? If not, it's up to you. So it would be up to me and the rest of us to get the rest of our members here so that we would have a quorum in the June meeting to be able to actually deliberate and vote on your appointment to the procurement board.
Well, or if you
Could we have a
chose to
separate
proceed
meeting?
as a committee, you would be able to give 7 days' notice of a committee meeting.
Okay,
And then actually conduct an interview and
Okay.
bring your recommendation back to the commission
Okay.
at the June meeting.
okay. So we might be able to do it earlier as well. Yeah, we appreciate it. Apologies for that.
Maybe just think of all the questions we might ask and feel free to.
We just love to know you, your background, what brings you to this, to wanting to serve on the board.
All right, well, my name is Larry Turnley. I'm a native of Nashville, former reentry coordinator with Gideon's Army. I'm a returning citizen. I did 20 years in federal prison. I'm a graduate of Stand Up Nashville, DCLI program, Boards and Commission, Leadership Institute, and also I worked on Tom Steyer's 2020 presidential campaign as its regional organizer director here in Nashville. And currently, I'm a small business owner, and I just wrote a book, What's Your Excuse? How I used my prison experience to save $100,000 since I've been home, which I came home in 2016. So that's part of my story, and what brought me to be on the procurement board is, most people feel that they are left out of the process when it comes to getting contracts. And I can just see from me registering with procurement to have my business registered as a vendor, a lot of things that's on, the website, or things that I have to do for it's like bidding and things of that nature is very unfamiliar with me, being that, like I said, I was 20 years removed from society. And I know that most of the communities that I represent, the vulnerable community as well as returning citizens, most stay in the shadows because they're intimidated by the process, or they allow their felonies to keep them in the shadows, or just not even try to evolve or grow a business or start a business or whatever the case may be. But I want to use my situation or myself as an example to show them that just because you have a felony, you shouldn't allow that to stop you from trying to matriculate or better yourself here. So that's part of my story, and I feel that me being on this board, it would give a lot of people hope, and hopefully it will allow the procurement board to give more support to small business owners. That's may not be technologically advanced or savvy. Maybe they can bring some, offer some type of curriculum or whatever the case may be. Because I know working with the Small Business Development Center, I have recommended quite a few people to them because they had no knowledge of it. And I feel by me being on this board or getting the opportunity to be on this board, I'll be able to raise a lot of awareness to people who may not just know about it or everything that it entails, or may be intimidated by the process.
Okay, I appreciate that. That was very, very helpful. If there's anything else you want to share, please do. Thank you again for coming today. We will, like Derek said, what we'll work on is having a separate meeting between now and June, ideally. Director, does that make sense? And try to, yeah, okay. And try to do this interview in a smaller meeting, that will be publicly noticed as well, so that we can get this done sooner than later.
All right.
And I just didn't hear your name when you first came up.
Larry Turnley.
Turner?
Turnley, Turnley, but most
Okay,
people call
Turner.
me LT.
Thank you.
Yes. Yes.
Point of clarification, you can't do this, you can't hold public meetings on Zoom anymore, correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
That was only under that governor's prior orders for COVID purposes, and he stopped renewing those orders. So. And that means the committee as well wouldn't be, it would have to be in person as well.
Yeah, so basically I would appoint a committee to this. We would notice the meeting, and then ideally in the office, and then the committee would be present, and we would interview you and deliberate and come to that decision then, and then present it to the commission. Yeah?
I do have a quick question.
Yes.
Can the committee make a recommendation based off of the application materials that were provided? Because he applied with a resume and things like that, and a cover letter, so.
It can be included in the materials, not based off of only. Are you saying like not even do an interview, basically? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. It's up to us.
It's up to us,
Committee,
right?
yes.
Okay,
Okay, that's a great,
just letting you know.
yeah, that's a
Throwing it
great
out there.
suggestion. Okay, so we can talk about that as well. So if we have his application and we have his documented materials, we could possibly have a decision that way through the ad hoc committee.
That's right.
Okay. Does that make sense?
So just so I know, next action steps would be an ad hoc committee is going to be formed, and then they will determine process, 7-day notice will be given, and then we will bring the recommendation into the June meeting.
Yeah.
And then if we have full quorum, vote on it there.
That's how I understand it.
Great.
Yes.
Great.
Okay, learning so much. So that's all with procurement board. Thank you again, Larry, for joining.
All right.
You're free to go.
Okay, take
Thank
care.
you. Unless you have any other comment. Appreciate you. Community forums follow-up. So that the basic thing here that also segs with the strategic planning discussion is that all that work that we did last fall something needs to be done with it. We do have notes and reports and these things. They are not in the most consumable, distributable format currently. So we need to decide what the best format is. What we've discussed is so we did those affordable housing booklets, if you guys remember them. They are golden in terms of the data inside of them. People really refer to them, use them quite a bit. The format to me is not the ideal format. A little booklet can get lost. It's not typically how think tanks and things like that. So what we were talking about is doing a proper 8x11 format of a report that is presented in a way that pulls out and highlights the main key data points and findings and outcomes of the report. So not this long sort of just then this, then this, then this, then that, then this, then that. I don't think that that's very useful for anyone. So it pulls out the major outcomes and findings, and that gets printed and is distributed to, all the relevant people in the city, basically, so that it's used. We still are told, and it's used electronically too, so it would be a nice format for people to read on their iPads and also refer to digitally. We are still told that people use the affordable housing booklet. I think it was the last piece of research done on that area. So I think we should think of it as a lasting piece of information for everyone to refer to. People use them for grants and all kinds of things as well. Were you going to say something? Okay. So that's what we're thinking for that, if that sounds good. But again, that can probably, if we move quickly to have the strategic planning discussion, that can be included in there. We just talked about this, the community forums follow-up and how we want that report and how we expect to use that. I don't know if you want to add anything, Director, to that.
I can only share with you what I shared. I can only share with everyone else what I shared with you about the format. A nice ultimate report, but 4 sections covering the 4 hearings, but also a overall narrative outlining the situation, what the purpose is for, but then going into each individual hearing. I've not looked at the last one, but the first 2 or 3, the notes were really, really good. And that provides areas for like a whole lot of citation about where they got their information from. They're chock full of that. All of the presenters were extremely prepared when they came. So we get to shape this report, again, around this title of Reimagining Public Safety. This is a national discussion. This is not something that's being done in a vacuum. This is going on in the academy. It's going on in governments. It's going on the streets of what is public safety. And I think holding those hearings, compiling this report, and making it in a couple of different formats. One is the digital booklet, of which all the links are live. It's nice, glossy, 8x11. It looks real pretty, but also having to print some too, to maybe send to the council, elected officials, maybe departments, and then even some of the participants, send them some copies. But working together to see what that's gonna sound like, us agreeing on the language, and maybe there's a statement in there from the chair, statement from the ED, but that the language about what our intent of this report is to expand our own local thoughts around what is public safety. And I think the information now is becoming pretty much fact that it's more than police and fire. But even in this proposed almost $3 billion budget, there are significant increases in police and fire, but still not in housing, still not in mental health, still not in those things that impact poverty, even the decriminalization of what folks call poverty crimes. So I think I'm really excited about putting together the report. I know it'll take at least a month, 6 weeks. I don't want to give myself a deadline that not going to work out, but at least that long of writing a detailed analytical report, substance as it relates to what the presenters brought to the table. There were even some good quotes when I was looking through the one where Legal Aid of Middle Tennessee, she had 2 or 3 fantastic quotes. The whole, where you can get court-appointed defense in criminal situations, but often there's a correlating civil issue tied to that, where that same person who got representation, you don't get that in civil issues. And her quote there was just so grabbing. So to make this something that would be representative of what I thought the 3 housing booklets that MHRC put out a few years ago that got a whole lot of traction, that were used by a whole lot of folks that were part of this ongoing discussion about affordable housing. So I'm just excited to put that together in a way to present to you, for you to critique it, offer edits, so that we can move forward with putting it out.
What I can't recall is, and I remember reading through the summaries of each, I have this recollection of there being a recapitulation of the testimony and the information offered by most of the speakers. I can't recall whether there were any hard recommendations at the end.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah, there were.
Okay, well, I just can't recall. And I guess the question then is, the question to consider is whether we're viewing this as primarily an educational undertaking or, for lack of a better term, a policy and, a policy.
Well, it would be my hope that the commission would include sound recommendations for consideration for policy.
That would be my hope as well.
Yeah, I mean, this is supposed to be a tool to affect change as everything that we do, I think. So it should be robust and clear in that way. Yeah, and each one of the presenters, or most of them, had, a link or an accompanying PowerPoint with information. So those should be in there as well, especially the legal aid presentation. So, yeah, we should be able to use that in council, use that when there's a $3 billion stadium consideration. Okay. Anything else on that, Director?
No.
Okay. We did our public comments. Any other announcements for today? I just want to say one thing. For the strategic planning discussion, when you get the email and you're asked to figure out your schedules and whatnot, what I would request is that you just think of, come in with, maybe we'll send around some pre-work before the meeting, but come in with, kind of ready to go on what are the biggest things. As I think about this report, and I think about what the director said about the $3 billion stadium and how it doesn't have anything allocated to these issues that are further causing, this flight of Nashvillians from the city. I think, we should be ready to hit the ground running in that meeting. So whether we send out sort of just main things to think about or even background material to read, just be ready to kind of, don't walk in hoping we will present to you all the things, walk in sort of ready to hit the ground running with the work. So that's what I'll say about that. And we can talk about what that pre-work would be, Director. And then any announcements? Sorry, nothing. Okay, then I can adjourn a meeting without quorum? No, okay. Thank you all for coming, and I will do better, along with the team, I guess, to try to get everyone to these meetings.
Well, in defense, I thought
we do have to acknowledge that there was a lot of back and forth on the meeting date and the location. So that will not happen again. Thank you.
This has been a service of the Metro Nashville Network. If you would like to see this presentation again, or for more information on this and other programs, visit nashville.gov